Did you know that deep within the mystical teachings of Kabbalah, there are hidden forces that challenge our understanding of good and evil? These mysterious entities are not just stories. They represent deep spiritual ideas about the balance of light and darkness in the universe. In this video, we will explore some of the most intriguing secrets of Kabbalah, focusing on the discoveries of Gershom Scholem, a scholar who spent his life studying these ancient teachings. Scholem helped the world understand Kabbalah in a new way, revealing that it is not just about wisdom and enlightenment, but also about hidden, powerful forces that shape our spiritual journey. Kabbalah is an ancient Jewish mystical tradition that seeks to explain the nature of God, the universe, and the human soul. Many people know it as a path to personal growth and spiritual awakening, but Scholem found that it also speaks of darker, more mysterious forces. These forces, often misunderstood, are part of the balance between good and evil, order and chaos. By studying these hidden aspects of Kabbalah, we can gain a deeper understanding of the spiritual world and our own place within it. Join us as we uncover these ancient mysteries and explore the unseen forces that influence our lives. Gershom Scholem was a brilliant scholar who dedicated his life to studying Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical tradition. Born in 1897 in Berlin, he became fascinated by ancient texts that many had overlooked for centuries. Unlike others who saw Kabbalah as just old religious stories, Scholem realized it contained deep spiritual ideas about the universe, God, and humanity. Scholem's work helped bring Kabbalah into modern study. He translated and explained many hidden teachings, showing that Kabbalah was not just about personal enlightenment, but also about understanding the unseen forces in the world. Through his research, he uncovered both the beautiful and the frightening aspects of this mystical tradition. Kabbalah teaches that the universe is a balance of light and darkness. Many people think of it as a path to wisdom and peace, but there's also a hidden side filled with mysteries and challenges. According to Kabbalah, light represents divine knowledge, purity, and spiritual growth, while darkness symbolizes chaos, impurity, and the struggles of life. Scholem discovered that ancient Kabbalists believed these forces were necessary for the universe to exist. Without darkness, there would be no way to understand light. This idea is similar to how we need challenges to grow stronger and learn important lessons in life. Mysticism, including Kabbalah, is often seen as a way to connect with something greater than ourselves. But Scholem showed that true mysticism is not just about seeking divine wisdom, it is also about facing the unknown, the hidden, and even the frightening. The balance between good and evil, order and chaos, is at the heart of many mystical traditions. By studying both the bright and dark sides of Kabbalah, Scholem helped reveal its full meaning. He reminded us that spiritual growth comes not just from seeking light, but also from understanding and overcoming darkness. In Kabbalah, there is a mysterious concept called Sitra Achra, which means the other side. This term refers to the forces of darkness, impurity, and chaos that exist alongside the forces of goodness and holiness. Unlike the bright side of Kabbalah, that focuses on wisdom and spiritual enlightenment, Sitra Achra represents the challenges and temptations that can lead people away from the divine path. These dark forces are not just evil spirits or demons, they also exist within human nature. Feelings like greed, anger, and selfishness come from Sitra Achra, making life a constant struggle between doing what is right and falling into negativity. Kabbalah teaches that good and evil are not just enemies, but also part of a greater balance in the universe. Without darkness, there would be no way to understand light. Sitra Achra exists to challenge and test people, helping them grow spiritually. Some Kabbalists believe that when the world was created, divine light had to be limited so that the physical world could exist. This process left behind traces of darkness, which became the forces of Sitra Achra. These dark energies feed on impurity and sin, gaining strength when people give in to their worst desires. However, by resisting them, people can grow closer to the divine. Every person experiences a battle between light and darkness within themselves. The more someone follows a path of kindness, wisdom, and self-control, the stronger their connection to divine light. But when they give in to negativity, they become trapped in the energy of Sitra Akra. Many spiritual traditions teach ways to overcome these dark forces. In Kabbalah, practices like prayer, meditation, and doing good deeds help purify the soul and weaken the influence of Sitra Akra. The ultimate goal is not to destroy darkness completely, but to transform it, to take the energy of struggle and turn it into strength for spiritual growth. Understanding Sitra Akra reminds us that life is full of choices. Every decision we make moves us closer to the light or deeper into darkness. By learning about these hidden forces, we can make wiser choices and bring more goodness into the world. In Kabbalah, klipot, also spelled kelipot, are barriers that block divine light. The word klipot means shells or husks, symbolizing the layers of impurity that cover spiritual truth. These shells make it harder for people to connect with the divine and reach their highest spiritual potential. Klipot are not just physical obstacles, but also spiritual ones. They represent negative emotions, bad habits, and distractions that keep people away from goodness and wisdom. In Kabbalah, overcoming these shells is part of the journey toward enlightenment. Imagine divine light as a bright and powerful sun. Klipot act like thick clouds that block the sunlight, making the world feel darker. The more someone is trapped in selfishness, greed, or negative thoughts, the thicker these clouds become. According to Kabbalah, the world was originally filled with pure divine light, but during creation, some of that light became trapped within the klipot. This trapped light is what gives klipot their power. People who follow a negative path feed these shells, making them stronger, while those who seek wisdom and kindness help break them apart, freeing the hidden light. Kabbalah describes different types of klipot, each representing various challenges in life. Klipot Noga. This is the most balanced klipa. It contains both good and bad elements, meaning it can be purified through good actions. It represents material desires, which can be used for either selfishness or holiness. The three impure klipot, these are fully dark and cannot be redeemed. They symbolize complete evil and corruption. Ruach, spirit of impurity, associated with deception and lies. Afar, dust and decay, represents laziness and lack of motivation. Mayim, turbulent waters, linked to uncontrolled desires and temptations. These klipot influence human behavior, making it harder to act with kindness, self-control, and wisdom. Breaking free from the klipot requires spiritual discipline. Kabbalists believe that through good deeds, prayer, and self-reflection, people can remove these barriers and allow divine light to shine more clearly in their lives. Some common practices include meditation and prayer, helps focus the mind and connect with the divine. Acts of kindness, mitzvot, doing good for others weakens the power of klipot. Self-control and awareness, recognizing negative tendencies and working to improve them. Study of sacred texts, learning wisdom helps uncover hidden light within oneself. By overcoming the klipot, a person moves closer to spiritual enlightenment, transforming darkness into light and impurity into holiness. In Kabbalah, Sitra Akra means the other side, the realm of darkness and impurity that opposes divine holiness. This hidden world is home to powerful forces that seek to disrupt balance, cloud human judgment, and lead souls away from the path of righteousness. Among these dark entities, two of the most feared are Beelzebub and Samael, each playing a different role in spiritual corruption and destruction. Beelzebub is often called the Lord of the Flies, a name that reflects decay, filth, and impurity. In Kabbalah, he is associated with the klipot, the shells of negativity that block divine light. His influence is seen in all things that rot and break down, both physically and spiritually. Wherever there is greed, deception, and moral decay, Beelzebub's presence can be felt. Beelzebub tempts people through excess and indulgence. He feeds on arrogance, pride, and uncontrolled desire. Those who give in to selfishness, dishonesty, or addiction unknowingly strengthen his grip on the world. Instead of seeking wisdom and humility, they become trapped in materialism and corruption, further distancing themselves from divine truth. To resist Beelzebub's influence, one must cultivate purity of mind and heart. Kabbalists teach that prayers, fasting, and acts of charity weaken his hold. Practices such as reciting Psalms, especially Psalms 91 and 121, engaging in honest and humble living, using incense and purifying rituals, speaking words of truth and kindness. All of these actions help remove his presence and restore divine balance. Samael is one of the most feared figures in Kabbalah. Unlike Beelzebub, who tempts and corrupts, Samael is the angel of death, the one who executes divine judgment. He is both a destroyer and a tester, ensuring that those who have strayed too far from righteousness face the consequences of their actions. Some traditions say he is not purely evil, but serves as a necessary force in the universe. When Samael's influence is strong, there is an increase in fear, suffering, and chaos. Wars, plagues, and natural disasters are sometimes attributed to his work. He is also seen as the force behind spiritual blindness, making it harder for people to see the truth and seek redemption. Because Samael is linked to judgment, repentance is the best way to guard against him. The following practices can help: sincere prayer and seeking forgiveness, giving to charity, tzedakah, to balance past wrongs, wearing or displaying protective symbols such as the mezuzah or Star of David, reading sacred texts, especially those about divine mercy. By focusing on righteousness, humility, and spiritual growth, one can overcome the darkness of Sitra Achra and return to the path of divine light. In Kabbalah, the Sitra Achra represents the forces that oppose divine holiness, leading people away from spiritual enlightenment. Among the dark entities that dwell in this realm, Belphegor and Lilith are two of the most dangerous. One promotes idleness and stagnation, while the other thrives on chaos and temptation. Belphegor is known as the demon of sloth, representing laziness, procrastination, and lack of purpose. He whispers to people, convincing them that effort is pointless and that comfort is better than growth. His influence is seen in those who abandon their spiritual path out of boredom or despair. When Belphegor takes hold of someone's mind, they become trapped in inaction and complacency. Instead of striving for wisdom or seeking divine truth, they waste time on meaningless distractions. He fuels doubt, laziness, and lack of faith, making people believe that they are too weak to change or that spiritual discipline is too difficult. The best way to fight Belphegor's influence is through discipline and devotion. Kabbalists teach that small, consistent efforts lead to great spiritual growth. Some ways to resist him include daily prayer and meditation to focus the mind, setting goals for personal and spiritual improvement, helping others through acts of kindness and charity, engaging in study and reflection on sacred texts. By actively seeking purpose and wisdom, one can break free from Belphegor's chains and move closer to divine light. According to ancient teachings, Lilith was the first wife of Adam, created at the same time as him. Unlike Eve, she refused to be submissive and left the Garden of Eden in defiance. In Kabbalah, she represents rebellion, seduction, and chaos, a force that disrupts order and lures people into temptation. Lilith is often associated with destructive passion and forbidden desires. She tempts people with illusions of freedom, pleasure, and power, leading them away from holiness. She is also linked to the night, secrecy, and deception, where she spreads confusion and disorder. Throughout history, Lilith has been seen as a symbol of temptation and destruction. She is said to visit people in their dreams, filling their minds with impure thoughts. In relationships, she brings jealousy, manipulation, and division. Wherever there is conflict and brokenness, her influence is at work. To guard against Lilith's influence, one must focus on purity, self-control, and spiritual awareness. Kabbalists recommend wearing protective amulet, such as the names of holy angels, speaking words of truth and avoiding deceit, strengthening relationships through love and respect, engaging in prayer and rituals that promote inner peace. By staying connected to holiness and wisdom, one can overcome Lilith's temptations and walk the path of divine righteousness. Throughout history, spiritual traditions have taught that good and evil are forces that shape the human soul. In Kabbalah, the struggle against darkness is not just a battle to avoid sin, but a path to spiritual enlightenment. The challenges presented by the Sitra Achra, the Klipot, and dark entities serve as tests that push people toward growth, wisdom, and a deeper connection with the divine. Darkness exists not to destroy, but to teach and refine. The obstacles and temptations of evil forces reveal weaknesses in the soul, forcing a person to confront their inner struggles. By resisting these influences, one learns discipline. Overcoming laziness and distraction strengthens willpower. Wisdom, Facing deception and falsehood deepens the understanding of truth. Compassion, witnessing suffering and wrongdoing inspires acts of kindness. Faith, struggles test and strengthen one's trust in the divine. Every challenge holds a lesson, and every temptation is an opportunity to choose the path of righteousness. Without darkness, there would be no contrast to reveal the beauty of light. The presence of evil forces reminds people of the value of holiness and goodness. Just as a candle shines brightest in the night, spiritual truth becomes clearer when tested against falsehood and corruption. Temptation strengthens virtue. Resisting selfish desires builds moral character. Hardship creates resilience. Enduring suffering makes the soul stronger. Opposition reveals truth. Challenging lies and deception clarifies wisdom. Instead of fearing darkness, one should use it as a tool to become stronger in faith and purpose. True enlightenment is not achieved through an easy life, but through facing and overcoming struggles. Spiritual growth requires effort, just as a seed must push through the soil to become a tree. Kabbalists teach that by conquering the forces of darkness, the soul reaches a higher state of purity and understanding. To achieve spiritual enlightenment, one must recognize and resist negative influences, commit to a path of righteousness and wisdom, seek divine guidance through prayer and meditation, transform personal struggles into opportunities for growth. The journey may be difficult, but in the end, the light of truth, love, and divine connection will shine brighter than ever. The battle between good and evil is eternal, shaping both the world and the human soul. Darkness is not just an obstacle. It is a teacher, pushing us toward wisdom, strength, and spiritual growth. By understanding the forces of Sitra Achra and the Klipot, we learn how to overcome negativity and embrace the divine light. Mysticism invites us to explore deeper, to seek truth beyond the surface, and to find meaning in the struggle. The path is challenging, but for those who walk it, the reward is enlightenment and a closer connection with the divine. If you enjoyed this journey into mysticism and hidden knowledge, don't stop here. Like, subscribe, and stay with us as we continue exploring the deeper truths of the universe. There is always more to uncover. Let's seek the wisdom together.